You wake up, grab your phone before you've even fully opened your eyes, and within 5 minutes you're already anxious, irritated, or lost in comparisons. Sound familiar? Here's the truth no one wants to hear. You're handing over control of your life before you even get out of bed. But what if I told you there's a way to start your day so strong that nothing, absolutely nothing, can shake you? The ancient Stoics knew this more than 2,000 years ago. They didn't have smartphones, social media, or non-stop notifications. What they did have were wars, betrayals, illness, and devastating loss. And still, they managed to keep calm and mentally clear. How? They had a morning secret that transformed the rest of their day, and you're about to discover it. Imagine starting every morning with a clear mind, a calm heart, and a deep sense that you're in control. No matter what the day throws at you, you're ready. That's not fantasy. That's what happens when you practice the Stoic morning ritual. Marcus Aurelius, one of the most powerful men who ever lived, emperor of Rome, began his days by writing to himself. Not imperial decrees, not military orders. He wrote reminders about how to be human, how to deal with difficult people, and how not to be shaken by circumstances. Those notes became Meditations, one of the most powerful books of practical philosophy ever written. Seneca, another giant of Stoicism, woke before sunrise. He used that quiet, sacred time to reflect, plan, and strengthen his mind. He knew the first moments of the day shape everything that follows. Start chaotic, live chaotic. Start centered, live centered. Epictetus, who was born a slave before becoming one of the most respected philosophers of his time, taught that we don't control what happens to us, but we fully control how we respond. And that preparation to respond well begins in the morning. So let me ask you something. How do you want your day to go? Do you want to be the person who reacts to everything, who's constantly putting out fires, who ends the day exhausted and frustrated? Or do you want to be the person who stays calm no matter what happens, makes wise decisions, and goes to sleep at peace, knowing they did their best? The difference between those two versions of you is the first hour of the day. And no, you don't need to wake up at 5 a.m. or meditate for hours. You just need a few minutes and clear intention. I'm going to show you exactly how to create your Stoic morning ritual. I'll walk you through the specific practices the Stoics used and how you can adapt them to modern life. And there's more. I'll share the final secret, the one very few people talk about, the one that turns all of this from theory into real power in your life. But before we continue, if this is already resonating with you, if it feels like something you needed to hear right now, hit the like button. It really helps the channel. And make sure you subscribe, because what comes next could completely change how you face your days. Let's start with the most fundamental principle of the Stoic morning ritual: mental preparation for the day. The Stoics called this premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of difficulties. Relax. This isn't pessimism. It's the exact opposite. Think about it. When something bad happens out of nowhere, we panic, our heart races, our mind freezes, and we react poorly. But when we've already imagined that situation, when we've already thought through how to handle it, our reaction is completely different. We stay calm, take a breath, and act wisely. Marcus Aurelius did this every morning. He would sit and think, "Today I will meet people who are annoying, arrogant, ungrateful, and selfish." He visualized these moments, but he didn't stop there. He also reminded himself, "When this happens, I'll remember that they act this way out of ignorance. They don't know what is truly good, and I won't let their ignorance disturb my peace." Do you see how powerful that is? He wasn't being negative. He was protecting himself. He was building mental armor that nothing could pierce. You can do the same. As soon as you wake up, before checking your phone, before diving into the day's chaos, sit for 2 or 3 minutes and ask yourself, what could go wrong today? Maybe traffic will be terrible. Maybe your boss will be in a bad mood. Maybe a project won't turn out the way you planned. Maybe someone will disappoint you. Now comes the most important part. For each thing that could go wrong, decide in advance how you'll respond. You don't hope everything goes perfectly. You prepare for when it doesn't, and when it finally does go wrong, you're not shaken, because you were expecting it. That changes everything, literally everything. Now that you understand the power of premeditation, let's move on to the second pillar of the Stoic morning ritual, recognizing what you control and what you don't. This is the foundation of all Stoicism. And if you don't start your day with this in mind, you'll waste enormous amounts of energy on things that are completely outside your reach. Epictetus said something that should be written in giant letters on everyone's bedroom wall. Some things are within our control and some things are not. What's under our control? Our opinions, impulses, desires, and aversions, in short, everything that comes from us. What's not under our control? Our body, our possessions, our reputation, and our status. In short, everything that does not come from us. Let that sink in for a moment. You don't control what people think about you. You don't control whether it rains or the sun shines. You don't control whether the market goes up or down. You don't control whether someone loves you back or betrays you. You don't control whether you get sick or stay healthy. But you know what you do control? Your thoughts, your choices, your reactions, your effort, your integrity, your words. And that, my friend, is more than enough. Every morning, the Stoics practiced this mental exercise. They looked at the day ahead and mentally separated what was under their control from what wasn't. Then they made a conscious decision. I will focus all my energy on what I can control, and I will calmly accept everything I can't. Imagine the power of that. You stop fighting reality. You stop wasting energy trying to change what cannot be changed. You stop suffering in advance over things that may never even happen, and you channel all your strength into where it truly matters, your actions, your choices, your character. So in the morning, before starting anything, do this exercise. Think about the situations you'll face and ask yourself, is this under my control or not? If it's not, take a deep breath and accept it. If it is, decide to act in the best way possible. This simple habit will free you from tons of anxiety and frustration. Now let's move to the third element of the Stoic morning ritual, radical gratitude. And when I say radical, I don't mean that shallow kind of gratitude, like being thankful for hot coffee or a sunny day. I'm talking about a deep, almost unsettling gratitude that completely transforms your perspective. The Stoics practiced something called Amor Fati, love of fate. They didn't just accept what happened, they loved what happened. Every obstacle, every difficulty, every loss was seen as exactly what was meant to happen, an opportunity to practice virtue. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "When you wake up in the morning, tell yourself, the people I deal with today will be meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and ill-tempered. They are like this because they cannot tell good from evil. But I have seen the beauty of good and the ugliness of evil. And I know that the wrongdoer is related to me, not by blood or birth, but by mind and by sharing a spark of the divine. Therefore, none of them can harm me." Look how powerful that is. He's transforming what could become irritation into understanding and gratitude. He's grateful for his clarity about good and evil. He's grateful for the chance to practice patience and compassion. He's even grateful for difficult people because they are teachers in disguise. Every morning, before getting out of bed, practice this kind of gratitude. Don't just be grateful for the good things. Be grateful for the challenges. Be grateful for the opportunity to be tested. Be grateful for being alive and conscious, because that gives you the chance to practice wisdom, courage, justice, and self-control. If you've made it this far and you feel like this is resonating, like you're discovering something truly valuable, pause the video now and leave a like. It helps more than you can imagine and allows me to keep creating content that genuinely transforms lives. And if you're not subscribed yet, subscribe now, because what comes next is even more powerful. The fourth element of the Stoic morning ritual is the visualization of death. I know it sounds morbid, but it's actually the opposite. It's what makes you feel most alive. The Stoics practiced something called Memento Mori, remember that you will die. Every morning, they reminded themselves that this day could be their last, not to become depressed or paralyzed, but to live with intensity and purpose. Seneca said, "Treat each day as if it were a gift on loan, one that could be taken from you at any moment, because it can." When you start your day remembering that you're mortal, that your time is limited, that nothing is guaranteed, something shifts inside you. You stop postponing what matters. You stop wasting energy on trivial things. You stop holding on to pointless resentments. You stop living on autopilot. You look at the people you love and think, what if this is the last time I see them? And then you hug tighter, speak more honestly, love more deeply. You look at your projects and think, what if I only have today to work on this? And then you focus, eliminate distractions, and give your best. This isn't pessimism, it's realism, it's wisdom. It's the only way to truly live. So every morning, take a moment to remember that you are mortal. Visualize your death, not with fear, but with acceptance, and even gratitude for being alive right now, in this moment. Then ask yourself, if this were my last day, how would I want to live it? And then live exactly that way. The fifth element of the Stoic morning ritual is setting your daily intention. We're not talking about making a massive to-do list or planning every minute of your day. We're talking about something much deeper, deciding what kind of person you are going to be today. The Stoics didn't wake up thinking about what they were going to do. They woke up thinking about how they were going to be, which virtue they would practice, which character challenge they would face, how they would respond when things didn't go as planned. Marcus Aurelius asked himself every morning, "For what purpose will I use my rational soul today?" And then he made a clear decision. Today I will practice patience. Today I will be generous. Today I will remain calm in the face of provocation. Today I will be just, even when no one is watching. That clarity of intention changes everything. Because when you know who you want to be, decisions become easier. Someone insults you. You already decided this morning that you'd practice patience, so you take a deep breath and don't react. An opportunity to cheat and gain an advantage appears. You already chose integrity, so you refuse without hesitation. So every morning, before starting any activity, ask yourself, which virtue will I practice today? What aspect of my character do I want to strengthen? Choose one clear intention. It can be something simple, like being more present in conversations, or something more challenging, like forgiving someone who hurt you. What matters is clarity, because without a clear intention, you'll just react to whatever comes your way. But with a clear intention, you're in control. You are consciously shaping the person you are becoming. Now let's move to the sixth element, and this one is essential, the practice of mindful attention to the body and the breath. The Stoics understood something that modern science has only recently confirmed. The mind and the body are deeply connected. You can't have mental clarity if your body is tense, restless, and dysregulated. Epictetus taught his students to pay attention to physical sensations, to breathing, to posture. He knew that the way you breathe directly influences the way you think and feel. When you're anxious, what happens to your breathing? It becomes fast and shallow. And when you're calm, your breathing slows down and deepens. Here's the key insight. This relationship works both ways. You can change your mental state by changing your breath. Every morning, the Stoics spent a few minutes simply breathing consciously. They sat in silence, closed their eyes, and focused on the air moving in and out. Nothing else, just that. And this simple act brought remarkable calm and clarity. You can do the same. Before grabbing your phone, before thinking about the tasks of the day, sit comfortably, close your eyes, and breathe. Inhale for a count of 4. Hold for 4. Exhale for 4. Hold again for 4. Repeat this for a few minutes. As you do this, notice the sensations in your body. Is there tension in your neck, your shoulders, your jaw? Just notice, no judgment. Gradually, you'll feel the tension dissolving. Your body relaxes, your mind settles. This simple exercise anchors you in the present moment. And the present moment is the only place where you actually live. Everything else is memory or imagination. And when you are fully present, nothing can shake you, because you are fully aware, fully alive. The seventh element of the Stoic morning ritual is something very few people practice, but it has absolute transformative power: reflection on impermanence. The Stoics called this contemplating the transient nature of existence. Everything changes. Nothing lasts. The people you love will die. The objects you value will wear out or break. Happy moments will pass. Difficult moments will also pass. Your body is aging every second. Each breath brings you closer to the end. Does this sound depressing? The Stoics didn't think so. They found it liberating, because when you deeply understand that everything is temporary, you stop clinging in unhealthy ways. You appreciate what you have while you have it. And you suffer less when you lose it, because you always knew it was only a matter of time. Seneca tells a story about a man with a young son. Every night, as he put his child to bed, the man whispered to himself, "Tomorrow, he may not be here." Not because he wanted that to happen, but because he accepted reality. And because of that, every moment with his son became precious, sacred, intensely lived. The Stoics applied this to everything. While drinking their morning coffee, they thought, "This may be the last time I taste this." When leaving the house, they looked around and thought, "I may never see this view again." When hugging someone, they thought, "This might be our last embrace." This didn't make them sad, it made them grateful. It made them present. It freed them from the attachment that causes so much suffering. So every morning, take a moment to reflect on impermanence. Look around and recognize that nothing you see will last forever, not even you. Let that awareness fill you with gratitude and presence. Let it remind you to love deeply, to live fully, and not to waste a single second on trivial nonsense. The eighth element goes straight to the heart of Stoic practice, the exercise of the cosmic perspective. The Stoics believed we are part of something far greater than ourselves, a rational, ordered universe. And they use this perspective to remain calm in the face of problems. Marcus Aurelius practiced this beautifully. He imagined himself floating above the earth, looking down at its vastness. Cities looked like anthills, people looked like tiny dots. Problems that felt enormous up close became insignificant from afar. He wrote, "Observe from above the countless gatherings and ceremonies, and all the forms of travel in storms and calm, and the differences among those who are born, live together, and die. Consider also the lives lived by others in the past, and those who will live after you, and those now living among foreign peoples. Reflect how many do not even know your name, how many will soon forget it, and how many who praise you now will soon blame you. Reflect that neither memory nor fame nor anything else is worth much at all. What is he doing here? He's pulling you out of the small, suffocating bubble of your ego and placing you into the vastness of the universe. And in that vastness, you realize your problems aren't as big as they seem. You aren't as important as you think, and paradoxically, that realization is deeply freeing. When you gain this cosmic perspective, something inside you shifts. That argument that made you furious yesterday, from above, it's insignificant. That nasty comment on social media, irrelevant. That opportunity you missed and can't stop replaying in your mind, a drop in the ocean of existence. But pay attention. This doesn't mean nothing matters, or that you should become indifferent. It means the exact opposite. It means you should focus on what truly matters, your character, your virtues, how you treat people, how you use the limited time you have. These things matter because they rise above the small world of your ego-driven worries. So every morning, practice this exercise in cosmic perspective. Imagine yourself floating above the city where you live. Look down and see millions of people waking up. each with their own dramas, worries and dreams. Rise higher and see the entire country. Rise even higher and see the whole planet suspended in space. And then it hits you. You are a tiny part of something infinitely vast, and your problems are even smaller. But you also realize something else. Every action you take has an impact. Every word you speak echoes. Every choice you make carries consequences. You are small, but you are not insignificant. You are part of the whole, and the whole is affected by each of its parts. This awareness gives you humility and power at the same time. Humility, so you don't take everything so personally. Power, so you act with integrity, knowing that it matters. The ninth element of the Stoic morning ritual is the review of your core principles. The Stoics didn't rely on memory or momentary inspiration. They consciously reviewed, every single day, the principles that guided their lives. Epictetus had a list of essential teachings he repeated to himself constantly. He understood that the human mind forgets easily, that we're distracted by intense emotions, external pressure, and immediate desires, and that we must repeatedly remind ourselves of what truly matters. He said these teachings are not meant to be admired, they are meant to be used. What's the point of knowing the theory if you don't practice it? What's the point of agreeing with principles if you forget them exactly when you need them most? So every morning, the Stoics reviewed their core principles, things like virtue is the only true good. Vice is the only true evil. Everything else is indifferent. I can't control what happens to me, but I can control how I respond. I should live according to reason and nature. I should treat others with justice and compassion. I should accept what I can't change and act on what I can. These principles were like a compass. When the day became confusing, when emotions ran high, when decisions felt heavy, they returned to their principles, and the principles showed the way. You can create your own list of principles. It doesn't have to be long. 5 or 6 core ideas that guide your life. For example, I respond with calm, not anger. I choose truth even when it's uncomfortable. I treat everyone with respect. I do my best and accept the outcome. I live in the present moment. Then, every morning, read these principles, out loud or silently. Let them sink into your awareness. Let them become part of who you are. And when the day tests you, and it will, you'll have those principles fresh in your mind, ready to guide you. The 10th element of the Stoic morning ritual is extremely practical and powerful, anticipating your personal temptations and weaknesses. The Stoics were brutally honest with themselves. They didn't pretend to be perfect. They acknowledged their vulnerabilities and prepared for them. Seneca wrote about his own flaws with remarkable honesty. He knew he tended toward impatience, that he struggled with a desire for luxury, that sometimes his pride spoke louder than his reason. And because he knew this, he prepared himself. Every morning he would think, today I'll be tempted to be impatient. Someone will interrupt me. Someone will move too slowly. Something will get delayed. And when that happens, I'll take a deep breath and practice patience. Today I'll be tempted by luxury. I'll see something I want to buy, something that promises happiness. And when that happens, I'll remind myself that happiness doesn't come from external things. See how different this is from just hoping you'll behave well. He was actively preparing for moments of weakness. He was creating a plan of action before temptation appeared. And because he had a plan, when temptation showed up, he was ready. You can do the same. Think about your own weaknesses. Maybe you tend to procrastinate. Maybe you snap when criticized. Maybe you overeat when stressed. Maybe you spend money impulsively. Maybe you lie to avoid confrontation. Be honest with yourself. There's no shame in having weaknesses. Everyone does. The shame is in doing nothing about them. Then, every morning, anticipate those weaknesses. Think, today, I'll be tempted to procrastinate on that hard project. And when I feel the urge to procrastinate, I'll start with just 5 minutes. Today, someone will criticize me. And when that happens, I'll take 3 deep breaths before responding. Create specific strategies for each weakness. Don't rely on willpower in the moment. Prepare in advance, and you'll see your ability to resist temptation increase dramatically. The 11th element is what separates practicing Stoics from theoretical ones, committing to a specific virtuous action for the day. It's not enough to think about virtue. It's not enough to want to be virtuous. You must define concrete actions. Marcus Aurelius didn't wake up thinking, "Today I'll be a better person." He thought specifically, "Today I'll publicly praise the work of that general who's been helping me. Today I'll spend an hour listening to citizens' complaints without interrupting. Today I'll write a letter of gratitude to my teacher." Specific actions, measurable, concrete, because virtue isn't an abstract idea. Virtue is what you do. It's how you act. It's the choice you make when no one is watching. It's the word you speak when staying silent would be easier. It's the sacrifice you make when being selfish would be more comfortable. So every morning, after reviewing your principles and anticipating your weaknesses, define at least one specific virtuous action you will take that day. It can be small, like calling someone you've been neglecting, or bigger, like having the difficult conversation you've been avoiding, or simple, like setting aside 30 minutes to help a co-worker with a project. What matters is specificity, not "I'll be generous," but "I'll buy lunch for that person who's struggling." Not "I'll be brave," but "I'll speak up in the meeting about the problem everyone is ignoring." When you define that one specific action in the morning, something interesting happens. You create a commitment with yourself, and throughout the day, even when distractions arise, even when excuses show up, that action stays in your mind, nudging you, reminding you of the promise you made. And at the end of the day, when you actually follow through, you feel something deeper than simple satisfaction. It's not just a surface-level reward. It's a sense of integrity, of being aligned with your values, of actively building the person you want to become. And that feeling is addictive in the best possible way. It makes you want to do more, be more, live more fully. The 12th element of the Stoic morning ritual is something few people talk about, yet it has a profound impact: the practice of voluntary simplicity. The Stoics believed that the less you need to be happy, the stronger you become. Seneca practiced this in a radical way. Regularly, he would spend several days living with the bare minimum. He ate only bread and water, slept on the floor, wore simple clothing. And he did this not because he was poor or forced to, but because he was incredibly wealthy and wanted to remember that he didn't need any of it. He wrote, "Set aside certain days on which you are content with the cheapest food and the roughest clothing, asking yourself, is this what I used to fear?" It is precisely in times of security that the soul should be preparing itself for difficult moments. What is he really saying? If you train yourself to live with little, you'll appreciate abundance more when you have it. And if you ever lose what you have, you won't panic, because you already know you can survive without it. That is real freedom. Not the freedom of having everything you want, but the freedom of not needing anything to be happy. Every morning, the Stoics practiced some form of voluntary simplicity. Maybe they started the day with a cold shower instead of a hot one. Maybe they drank only water instead of coffee or an elaborate drink. Maybe they sat on the floor instead of a comfortable chair. Small acts that reinforced a powerful reminder: I don't need comfort to be okay. You can incorporate this into your own morning ritual. It doesn't need to be extreme. It can be as simple as taking a cold shower for 1 minute, sitting on the floor to meditate instead of using a soft cushion, eating a simple breakfast instead of something elaborate. The point is not to punish yourself. The point is to train your mind not to depend on external comfort. It's about building resilience. It's about remembering that you are stronger than you think, that you need less than you imagine, and that your happiness does not depend on external circumstances. The 13th element is something truly transformative: visualizing your ideal self. The Stoics believed in the power of having a model, a living example of virtue to guide their actions. And every morning they would bring that model to mind. Seneca advised, choose someone whose character is exceptional and keep them constantly before you, living as if they were watching you, acting as if they could see everything you do. This person could be someone alive or dead, real, or even an ideal you've created. For many Stoics, that model was Socrates, the philosopher who chose death over compromising his principles. For others, it was someone they knew personally, a mentor, a teacher, a friend with admirable character. But here's the insight most people miss. You can also visualize the best version of yourself, the version of you who stays patient when provoked, courageous when tested, generous when it would be easier to be selfish, honest when lying would be more convenient. Every morning, close your eyes and picture that ideal version of you. See them waking up with purpose. See them facing the day's challenges with calm and wisdom. See them treating others with respect and compassion. See them holding their principles even when it's hard. See them going to bed at night with a clear conscience, knowing they lived well. Then ask yourself, what would this version of me do today? How would they respond in that stressful situation? What choices would they make? This visualization is not escapist fantasy. It's a powerful tool for transformation. Because when you clearly see who you want to become, you begin, often unconsciously, to act in alignment with that image. Your behavior starts matching your vision. And over time, you become the person you once visualized. Modern neuroscience now confirms this. Visualization activates the same brain regions as real action. When you see yourself acting with virtue, your brain is literally practicing that virtue. The 14th element of the Stoic morning ritual is deeply personal, constructive inner dialogue. The way you talk to yourself determines how you feel and how you act. And the Stoics were masters of cultivating inner speech that strengthened them. Marcus Aurelius was tough on himself, but never in a destructive way. He confronted himself with honesty, but also with compassion. He wrote things like, "You can handle this. You've endured worse. This is nothing compared to what you're capable of." He didn't indulge in false self-pity, but he also didn't tear himself apart with cruel self-criticism. He struck a perfect balance, honest about his flaws, confident in his ability to improve. Every morning, pay attention to how you speak to yourself. Are you your own harshest critic or your strongest supporter? Are you sabotaging yourself with defeatist thoughts or reinforcing yourself with constructive ones? The Stoics understood that you can't control the first thought that enters your mind. That thought is automatic, conditioned, instinctive, but you have complete control over the second thought, your response. The thought arises, "I can't do this." You can't stop that first thought, but you can choose the second one. Wait, that's not true. I've faced challenges like this before. I'm capable. I'll do my best and accept the outcome. That second thought changes everything. It turns defeat into possibility, fear into courage, doubt into determination. So each morning, establish a strengthening inner dialogue. Speak to yourself the way you would speak to someone you love and want to see succeed, with honesty, but also encouragement, with realism, but also hope. The 15th element is the practice of conscious physical presence during your morning activities. The Stoics did not separate mind and body. They understood that everything you do physically affects your mind, and vice versa. So when brushing their teeth, they actually brushed their teeth. They weren't mentally elsewhere. When getting dressed, they noticed the sensation of the fabric against their skin. When walking, they felt the weight of their body, the movement of muscles, the contact of their feet with the ground. It sounds too simple to matter, but think about it. How often do you live on autopilot? How often do you shower without truly being present, eat without tasting, walk without feeling yourself walk? When you live this way, you're not really living. You're operating automatically, like a machine. And then you complain that life goes by too fast, that every day feels the same, that you feel disconnected from everything. But when you bring full presence to every small action in the morning, something almost miraculous happens. You wake up, literally. You come out of the trance most people live in and step into a state of vivid awareness. And in that state, you are truly alive. So as you go through your morning activities, bring all your attention to them. Feel the water of the shower on your skin. Notice the taste of your coffee or tea. Listen to the sounds around you. Feel the air moving in and out of your lungs. You are fully present in each moment. This simple habit of presence during your morning routine trains your mind to stay present throughout the entire day. And when you are present, nothing can shake you, because you are fully aware, fully alive, fully here. Now we arrive at the 16th and final element, the last secret I promised at the beginning of this video. It is the most powerful of all, and the one practiced by the fewest people. This is what turns interesting theory into real power that actually changes lives. The secret is this: the evening review. Wait, I know we're talking about a morning ritual, but here's the truth no one tells you. A morning ritual only truly works when it's combined with a consistent evening review. And the Stoics knew this better than anyone. Seneca wrote, "When the light has been removed and my wife, already aware of this habit of mine, has fallen silent, I examine my entire day and review what I have done and said. I hide nothing from myself. I omit nothing. Why should I fear any of my mistakes when I can say, 'See that you do not do this again, and for now, I forgive you'?" Every night before going to sleep, the Stoics practiced a brutally honest examination of conscience. They asked themselves, "Where did I fail today? Where did I let my emotions control me? When did I act against my principles? What opportunities to practice virtue did I waste?" But they also asked, "Where did I succeed? When did I remain calm? In what moments did I act according to my values? What progress did I make?" This nightly review closes the loop. In the morning, you prepare. At night, you evaluate. And the next morning, you adjust. You begin to identify your patterns. You recognize your recurring traps. You celebrate your victories and learn from your defeats. Without this evening review, you are simply repeating the same mistakes over and over. With it, you are evolving consciously, day after day, becoming a better version of yourself. So here is the complete ritual, the morning secret that makes you unshakable. You wake up, and before doing anything else, you dedicate 15 to 30 minutes to these elements. You anticipate the challenges of the day. You separate what you control from what you don't. You practice radical gratitude. You remember your mortality. You define your daily intention. You breathe consciously. You reflect on impermanence. You gain cosmic perspective. You review your principles. You anticipate your weaknesses. You define one specific virtuous action. You practice voluntary simplicity. You visualize your ideal self. You establish a constructive inner dialogue. And you bring full presence to your morning activities. Sounds like a lot? At first it might, but remember, you don't need to do everything perfectly from day one. Start with 1 or 2 elements. Practice until they feel natural, then add another and another. Over time, it becomes as automatic as brushing your teeth. And at night, before going to sleep, you do the review. You honestly evaluate how your day went, and then you adjust your morning ritual based on what you learned. If you do this consistently for 30 days, you won't recognize the person you've become. You'll have a calm that people around you will notice. You'll make decisions with clarity. You'll respond with wisdom instead of impulse. You'll sleep peacefully, with a clear conscience, and you'll wake up with purpose, ready for another day of growth. This is not theory. This works. It worked for Marcus Aurelius while he ruled an empire. It worked for Epictetus while he was a slave. It worked for Seneca in the halls of power and later in exile. And it will work for you, no matter your circumstances. The question is not whether it works. The question is, will you do it? Because here is the final truth, the hardest one of all. You can know all of this and change nothing. You can agree with every word I've said and continue living exactly as you always have. Knowledge alone transforms no one. Only consistent practice does. The Stoics had a saying, "It is not enough to learn. You must apply. It is not enough to wish. You must act." So if you watched until the end, if something resonated inside you, if you felt this is what was missing in your life, don't let that feeling slip away. Act now. Tomorrow morning, when the alarm goes off, don't grab your phone. Sit on the bed, take 3 deep breaths, and begin. Start with just one element, maybe anticipating challenges, or separating what you control from what you don't, or radical gratitude. Choose one. Practice it for a week, then add another. And if you really want to go deeper into this transformation, subscribe to this channel now, like this video, and most importantly, start tomorrow. Don't wait to be perfect. Don't wait to fully understand everything. Start imperfect, start confused, but start, because life doesn't wait for you to be ready. It's happening now, and the only way to live well is to begin now. Not tomorrow, not Monday, not when things calm down. Now. If you made it this far, write in the comments, "I start tomorrow." That public commitment will help you follow through. And if you already practice something like this, share in the comments what works for you. Let's build a community of people who genuinely want to live with purpose, wisdom, and virtue. And look, there are 2 videos on the screen that perfectly complement what you just learned. One about how the Stoics dealt with difficult people, and another about how to maintain discipline even when you don't feel like it. Watch them. They'll give you practical tools to apply all of this in real life. Remember, you have one life, one single life, and it is passing right now. In this moment, don't waste another day living on autopilot, reacting to everything, being dragged around by circumstances. Take control. Start tomorrow with this ritual and watch your life transform. Nothing will shake you when you start your day this way. Absolutely nothing, because you'll be prepared, you'll be centered, you'll be alive. And that, my friend, is everything. See you in the next video, and remember, start tomorrow.